come in. Oh, great, people are coming in. Hello, Marlene. Hello, Robbie. Hello, Sarah. How are you? Hello, Sophie. Hello, Daniel. Great to have you all with us. I'll keep chatting for a bit as people come on in. We have 107 people signed up for today's session, so thank you all. And obviously, this is being recorded, so if you do have to step out, if you have to take a call, I will edit and send out the recording to everyone who signed up tomorrow. So as I say, if you have got to step out, or if you you need to do something, then please do not worry. I will send you the recording. Hello, Janice. Hello, Joe. Great to have you all with us. So the purpose of today is to just help you to understand, if you've not been to the conference before or you've only been a couple of times, what the EuRA Conference is like, what it's about. And our fantastic panel will give you some ideas as to how to get the most out of it. What you might find a challenge, what you might find fantastic, what you might want to think about in advance. So we ran this session last year and it was really interesting. People had, and obviously at any time you've got a question, if you can, to begin with, put it in the chat box, and just make sure that the chat box is, the default is always host and panelists with Zoom, which never makes any sense to me. But if you put to everyone, then anyone can see your question. If you just want to put a question to me and the other panelists, then you can just select the host and panelist option. But if at any time you've got a question, please pop it in the chat box. We'll try and do a bit of Q&A at the end if we've got some time. But the chat box works really well. So if you do have a specific question that you'd like answered, please just let us know. So I should introduce this fantastic panel. First of all, I'm going to start with Dean Hefford from Sprouting Canada. Dean and I met in Canada last year in Vancouver at the Canadian Employee Relocation Council conference. And I wanted to mention that because I don't know whether you felt the same way, Dean, although the EuRA conference is bigger, I've always felt the CERC conference has a really lovely family feel to it. It feels very inclusive. And it was great to meet you there. I remember running down the road past you, rudely not saying hello. And I was like, oh, anyway. But that's the thing. When you're at a conference, even if it's only 300 people as opposed to 700 people, you get talking to somebody and it's great. You start to really, build that network, and it can take time. So Dean, thank you so much for being here. Dean is our first-time attendee in Dublin last year. I'd love to introduce you to Jeremy Bertou from Home Conseil, based in France. Jeremy is he's one of our board members, but he's also a long-term. When was your first EuRA conference?
2015, Porto. So almost 10 years now. Nine years.
You're coming back to Portugal. Hurrah! There you go.
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. Porto was great. Jeremy. Again, you've been attending a long time, and so again, he has all the expertise on things like how to best network, how to best set up your meetings, what's good, what's not good, etc. So it's going to be an open chat. I would like to introduce you to Bryony Horwood. Bryony is our operations manager. I would assume probably quite a lot of you have actually had some communication with Bryony, I would think, over the last few months. And Bryony will take you through the sort of practical aspects of what's going to make the conference more valuable and easier to navigate. It is quite a big event. So thank you, Bryony. We'll come back to you in a bit. And last but by no means least is Tad Linden. He is the EuRA Chief Executive Officer and has been to every conference, as have I actually, bar one. I don't think I was at the very, very first meeting in Brussels. But I've been to every other. And I just wanted to point something out. So this is actually the 26th year of EuRA. But in that time, we've actually only run 23 conferences. Is that right, Ted? Or 23?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. We had to cancel 2009.
You're spoiling my speech.
Oh, sorry. I'll let Tad say that. All right. I thought that might be the case. Anyway, Tad, I'm going to start with you. So will you give us just a little history of the conference and, well, of EuRA, but more importantly, of the conference?
So EuRA was first thought of in 1997, and it was the first meeting basically was organized by the French Association, the SMPRM, and the UK Association, the ARP. And from there, in 1998, there was an initial meeting in Brussels, where famously the speaker who came to talk to us, who was incredibly rude, incredibly late, managed to, he asked for a briefing. He was a politician, that's why we don't like politicians to come and speak. He'd asked for a briefing and he arrived and he stood up on in front of the audience and he said, I don't know, I'm speaking to a bunch of Belgians in English. So he hadn't actually realized that it was a mainly European group of people in the room, and they certainly weren't Belgian. Anyway, so thereafter we moved on. We had our first proper conference in Barcelona. It was a really, really difficult event for me. I was brain dead the day after the conference finished. I had to look after, 120 people. And although Dominic was there helping, it was too much. It was just so much. But as time has gone by, the brain dead, what?
It now lasts a week. How do you
No,
cope?
it doesn't. In fact, as we go along, it's part of the yearly cycle. Sadly, the yearly cycle has been interrupted a couple of times. The first time was in 2010 when the Icelandic volcano, the name of which Dom will now tell you. Thank you. It's a very long word. Erupted, and Dominic and I found ourselves in Mallorca on the day of the conference, and I think about 8 other people actually made it to Mallorca that year. We had a gala dinner in a restaurant and rescheduled the whole thing for the following year, which worked really well. Everyone was happy to roll over, and we met in Mallorca again, and it was a tremendous success. Of course, the second pause was during COVID, where, of course, we were unable to run a conference in 2020 and also in 2021. But on the 6th attempt, we managed to hold the conference in Seville. And by Seville, we'd hit something like 700 delegates. So from the original 120 to the 750 we now have in total is quite something over the last few years. One thing that came into being in about 1718, Bryony will correct me if I'm wrong, was we started to have a waiting list. And we've continued to have a waiting list. And in fact, this year's waiting list, I think the people started joining the waiting list in mid-October. So it sold out pretty damned early. So that's another thing, that the conference is always a sellout. So if you come to the conference this year and feel you really want to come next year, make sure you book early as soon as you possibly can, because you don't want to be on that waiting list. The other thing I've been asked to talk about is about the lanyards that we're going to be issuing this year. We have 5 different lanyards. So if somebody is wearing a lanyard that looks like that.
Can you hold up a bit closer to the camera?
Yes. This is a board member lanyard.
Okay.
Jeremy, you'll be wearing one of those. Most of you, if you're new to the conference, will be wearing a newcomer lanyard. This is just so that people know you're new and can help you if you have a problem. If you happen to be a sponsor, you get a sponsor lanyard. These, by the way,
I have a question. If you're a newcomer and a sponsor,
well,
what do you do?
You can have two.
Excellent.
Or you can choose.
Or choose. These, by the way, are recycled plastic, so they're quite sustainable. And if you happen to be an EGQS holder, the EuRA Global Quality Seal, which I hope everyone will aspire to, you get one of these. And if you're just a normal person, you get one of these. Now, as a newcomer, if you're looking for some help from somebody and you want to find a mentor, we have these flags, which this happens to be Dominic's one from last year. We're trying to not use these flags, but we have some mentors left over. So if you see somebody with a mentor flag, they're happy to talk to you and help you in any way they possibly can during the course of the conference.
So I'm just going to chip in there, Tad, very quickly and say you'll be able to meet the mentors at the Newcomers in-person reception. which is at, I want to say 10 o'clock on Tuesday, but I think that's wrong.
9 o'clock Tuesday. I have it in my notes. You're stealing my speech now, Dominic.
Sorry, I'll leave that to you. Sorry.
He wants to say everything. Okay, well, that's me, and I look forward to seeing. Oh, one other thing, since we're talking about badges, there are actually 5 of me. There will be 5 versions of TAD at the conference. 4 of them are pop-up stands that we've used every year that tell you to wear your badge, because we're very keen on people wearing their badge. And of course, the 5th one is me in person. But please ensure that at all times and in all places in the conference, you wear your badge, because it's important to us to make sure that only conference attendees are participating in things. That's me for the moment, unless there's any sensible questions.
That's great. So first of all, I'd just like to say there's great chat going on in the chat box. So this is a very friendly group of people. That's great. You're all going to have a great time. I'm really welcome to you all. We're really trying to, we talked about this a lot actually after the last 2 conferences about what we can do more to make your experience as a newcomer better or less intimidating or smoother, whatever it is that we can do. So we're trying to do what we can. If you see a mentor, you can always ask them. But Bryony, I'll hand over to you because I know you've got lots of practical tips about all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you. And we're very much looking forward to meeting lots of new delegates and welcoming them to the EuRA Conference. And there's another flag that you can be on the lookout for, as well as the mentor flag. You can also, if you've got any questions and you see someone with a staff flag on their badge, they will also be more than happy to help you. We've got a brilliant group of volunteers who help us out every year at the conference, and we're really lucky that they've all been coming for quite some years now, so they've got a lot of experience, and if they can't help you, they'll know how to get a hold of one of us, so we'll be able to help you. We've also, talking about badges, I hope you've all received an email, I think it came out Thursday, which had your badge attached to it. If you are able to and you would like to, you can print your badge out in advance and bring that along with you. That will speed things up slightly for you at check-in. If you can't print it though, perfect. If you can't print it, please don't worry, because I've also printed a whole set of them, which will be in Villamora, so we can very easily get a badge for you. And also, if you lose your badge, yes, Tad.
That was what I was going to say.
And if you do lose your badge, because we obviously keep going on about the fact we want you to wear your badge, if you lose it, just come and see us at check-in and we'll get another one arranged for you. Your badge is also your ticket to the event. So you'll see on your badge that it will say yes or no as to whether or not you've booked the party night. And if you've booked a symposium, it will show which symposium you have booked. If you haven't booked either of those, then you are still very, very welcome to attend the welcome drinks on Tuesday evening and the gala dinner on Wednesday evening. We do still have some places available if you'd like to book a symposium on Monday, but the party night is full. So again, I love a wait list. I have another one for the party night. If you do end up on a wait list, then I would suggest, whilst in Villamora, coming and having a word with me to find out the easiest way to bribe me for future use.
There you go. Bryony, can I just interrupt you for 1 second? Thank you, Fabienne, for your question. Fabienne has asked, can we show the badge on our phone? That doesn't really work, because you'll have people coming up to you constantly hassling you because you're not wearing your badge. The volunteers will hassle you, as will unfortunately the security team in the Tivoli Villamora Algarve Resort. They have requested that everybody is wearing a physical badge in plastic. So you'll just have them coming up to you all the time saying, can I see your badge, please? So better to definitely print it and use it, or check in.
And if they don't catch you, I will.
Bryony, sorry, thank you. Thanks,
No,
Fabienne.
that's okay. We also have the conference app, which is where you will find details of your ticket as well as the program, a list of all the other attendees. I will also be adding in the PDF version of the delegate list. I'll do the final version of that next week, where you'll see everyone's listed by country as well. There's a map showing where all the rooms are, where the EuRA check-in desk is, where to go for the main conference session. Everything you need. There's also a scavenger hunt, which is brand new this year, where you can win fantastic prize of a free conference place for next year. So no need to worry about that wait list.
Oh,
You'll
Dom's
also
scavenger.
Oh,
Leaderboard at the moment,
there we
yes.
go.
So cheated.
One thing I would recommend is, because the conference area is slightly separate to the hotel, they're connected, but they are slightly separate areas. When you make a meeting with somebody, just make sure that you know whether or not you are meeting in, say, for example, the hotel lobby, or whether you're meeting at the conference lobby. So whether you could be at the EuRA check-in desk, you could be in our dedicated networking area, which, if the bar area around the hotel lobby is getting very full, I definitely recommend trying the EuRA networking area in the conference space. So I'd say have a look at the map on the app before you come, and then you'll just get yourself familiar with places that you could suggest for a meeting. We've also got some sponsors who have booked out a meeting room, and they may very well invite you to attend a meeting with them there. So they're all listed on the app as well. What else have I got? So we've spoken about the newcomers reception. Add this to your diary. Don't book any meetings at the same time. Tuesday, 9 o'clock. Come and have a coffee. And I suspect there might be some sort of Portuguese custard tart available.
That's this the map.
Good. Thank you. Good chance to just start to get to know people, meet the mentors as well. We'll all be there. Yeah, so if you've got any questions, or you just fancy a coffee and a pastry, come along. You'll notice on the programme that some things say invitation only, and those are things like sponsor meetings, where some of our big sponsors have a room for a specific time slot. That's not something that we control the guest list for. If you're invited to one of those, they will reach out to you directly. So they will provide you with all of the details. So if you don't know about them, then it's probably because you're not invited. The other things you can't attend are, as I said, the symposium if you haven't booked. I think that's it. Pretty much everything else, you're welcome to come and join, and we'd love to see you there, not just having meetings. I think, yes.
Just to say, the annual general meeting is only open to full members.
Oh, sorry, yes, but we'd love to see lots of full members at the annual general meeting. We've got a nice big room this year, so it would be great. Or if we could have standing room only, that'd be marvelous.
It'd be a first.
It's been a while. And the final thing I want to say, I think, is about the dress code, because I know some people have queries about that. And it always amazes me that every year it always seems to be the male delegates who contact me the most about the dress code. For the conference itself, we would say it's like business casual. So yeah, nothing too onerous. The gala dinner this year, there is a theme. It is a white theme. However, this is completely optional. No one is going to be turned away if they're not wearing white. So please don't feel that you have to, but if you'd like to join in with the theme, then it would be lovely. It is in an outside venue, and I would recommend, guys, not wearing your stilettos, because there are some cobbles on the floor. So maybe a low heel or a flat is the way to go there.
I will chip in there very quickly. When we did the conference in Stockholm and we used the venue, the amazing venue, the Vasa Museum, I did have one of our delegates who I know very well. She was very cross with me because we hadn't said that, and she was wearing her Laboutins, and she was very concerned that they would lose their red. So go on, Bryony.
We will be sending out a couple more emails next week, just with some final information. I would always recommend, if we send an email, then have a read, because we try not to send something unless it's relevant. We don't want to spam you with anything. So yeah, always read the information that we send you.
I don't know if any of you saw it, but somebody put a question in and said they'd clicked on my ticket and it was empty. And the reason is simply, if you have a ticket, it'll be for a symposium or it will be for the party night. And if you're booked for neither of those, it should be empty.
That's what your app ticket should look like. You should have a QR code and your name. And if it doesn't say symposium, session or party night, that means you're not registered for those. Couple of things have come through the chat box. That was one of them. Thank you very much, Tad. Again, thank you. Lauren said, is it definitely white? And Bryony said, it's completely up to you. Thank you very much, Adam. He has an old white Halloween costume suit, so that's good. Sustainable. So yeah, so as I say, that's what you should see on your ticket on the app. You should have your name and you should have your barcode. Sorry, Bryony.
No, I think I'm done. I think,
Okay.
unless there's anything that I've forgotten, it's possible. But just either, if you do have a burning question before we go, I am on the end of an email. Might not answer it, but I am on the end of an email. No, I will. Of course I will.
Most information you should be able to find on the app. But as I say, if you have a question, just you can reach out to me, you can reach out to Tad, you can reach out to Bryony. I'll be keeping an eye on things. So we we'll be around to try and help. So I am going to go on to welcome Dean. Dean, as I said, we met last year in Canada, and it was great to meet you. And you attended your first EuRA in Dublin. How was it?
I can honestly say that I clearly am a bit of a veteran of the industry, and I've been to many conferences. My first EuRA conference, and I think I posted about this recently on LinkedIn, it was like Christmas morning for me. I came from a very insular RMC where we didn't have an opportunity to really reach outside that bubble at the time I was there. And when we created Sprout in Canada, it was much different. So coming to EuRA was like Christmas morning, meeting some people that were so open and so willing to share. And yes, Dom, it is very similarly familial, like CERC in Canada, with the one caveat that CERC is a typical ERC event that has corporations there as well. So the feeling, pardon me, at EuRA is much more us than sometimes a protective sort of arms around your clients type of scenario. What I found in Dublin was that despite the fact that it was a difficult venue to actually kind of navigate and get things settled quickly, for meetings, etc. It was that I was able to align myself or meet people that shared similar values to what we do in my company and I do personally, and I was able to build some really great relationships, both business relationships and personal relationships that continue on to this day, that have kind of branched out into multiple different relationships. It is all about relationships, in my opinion, and EuRA is like the bar for the ability to create those relationships. So I loved my first conference. I am so looking forward to this one. A couple of things that I might take from my first conference and some mistakes that I made personally based on historical events that I've been to is that don't try too hard. Don't set up too many meetings. Give yourself time to breathe. This year for me, I have breaks between every single meeting so that I can recharge, actually digest what I've listened to, and unlearn some things and to relearn some things in between meetings. So I've left gaps this year across the board. I've also left larger gaps where I can just immerse myself in the event, whether it's outside by the pool, whether it's walking on the beach and saying hi to Dom as he walks by me towards the beach. And but again, I think that we often come to events like this with the intent of ticking the boxes of scheduling as many meetings as possible and taking it back to perhaps your boss or your manager or your team to say, look, I spoke to 50 people. Well, for me, what I've really distilled from last year's conference was that it is more about quality than quantity. That said, almost everybody that I met last year was of high quality. So it's for me, often when we go to these events, we think about how quickly we can find some return on the investment, that quick gains. What I've really digested over the past 12 months after my first EuRA is that has changed my mindset completely about every event I go to. It is not about instant gratification. It is about building relationships with people that share vision and value with you over time. The people that you meet, people that you're going to meet at EuRA will be here 10 years from now because they're solid people, solid companies. And these people know everybody. So they will refer you to whomever you didn't know you needed to talk to. Business has come our way at Sprout through channels that I didn't even know were there. So opportunities are great. Don't try too hard. Focus on the long-term stuff and have some fun. I mean, it's a great team. This EuRA team is fantastic. They do a great job, and they will make you very happy in any way they can, and have done so. That's it for me.
Thank you so much, Dean. Apart from your very kind words, there's some very good advice in there, which I know probably, Jeremy, you would second quite a lot of what Dean was saying there. I just wanted to come to one question that's come into the chat box. Thank you for responding to that, Brandy, from Anne-Marie. Very good question. I thought the evening programs are available for every attendee. Is that right? The welcome reception and the gala dinner are included in everybody's ticket. But the party night on Thursday, because quite a lot of people choose to go home on Thursday, we've for 20 years, we've always made that final party an optional extra. So you're prompted during the booking process if you want to add optional extras, and they are the symposia and the party night. So unfortunately, if you didn't choose the party night and there is an additional fee, because like I said, it's an optional extra, then it's not on your ticket, then unfortunately you are not on the list for that. However, come find us at the check-in desk. We will have a wait list. Dean, thank you again. It's very interesting how you say take time, take a breath. It's pretty exhausting anyway. So it's really important. And like you said, it's a lovely place. Go and see something if you have the time. And I know you're on work time and you're on the clock, but if you do have, even if it's just to walk around the harbour, go have a walk around the harbour. Go for a walk along the beach, maybe go into Cartera and see the fish market. There's all sorts of lovely things locally. Take time. Yeah.
Dom, you know what? I think we've eschewed the work-life balance in all we do. There is just balance. There is just life. And going to events like this, you've got to find some time for yourself. Decompress, digest, but enjoy and have some fun. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dean. And Jeremy, I'd love to come to you next. You joined us in Portus. That means 16 you were with us in Malta. Was it Malta?
Yeah, I was, yeah.
18 can't help. 17 was Warsaw. 18 was Dubrovnik.
Yep.
19 was Munich. 2021 didn't happen, and then Seville. So what have been your experiences as a seasoned conference veteran?
Well, as the seasoned conference goer, I would have loved to have Dean's newbie's advice because it's great. I mean, what Dean just said is actually most of the advice that I was going to say, which is to pace yourself. I've been doing my first conferences and staying meetings after meetings and ending each day in kind of a blur, not knowing where I am, who I met, and so on. and that is a factor of how you plan your meetings. Obviously, keeping some off time between meetings is important. Keeping some time to attend the actual conference and the content that is provided in the conference is also very important, because that's usually what will keep you updated with the industry standard, and knowing what, well, the rest of the people that you're going to meet are going to talk about for the full conference and the full year, usually. So yeah, it's important to pace yourself, and also it's important to keep in mind that you have to invest into going to the EuRA conference on the long term. This year will be the first time I will be bringing some of my team with me, because I'm a board member, so I'll be on board duty for a good part of the conference. That means I will have less time to attend sessions, to attend meetings. So I need part of my team to come. And the first thing I told them was, this is not a one-off thing. You're gonna come in this year and then you're gonna reiterate, because you're here at the EuRA conference to build long-term relationships. Dean said something that really resonated, which is that you get business referrals basically from channels you didn't know existed, because you had a cup of coffee between meetings with somebody you never knew, you don't remember the name of, but he or she does, and then you get some business out of it. So it's really, for me, a long-term commitment to come to EuRA. Obviously, it's going to be, if it's your first time, a blur, because you're going to meet 100 people. You are going to remember 10 names, and then you're going to be able to match one face to one name at the end of the conference. But it's not what matters, because the next year you'll see the 10 faces and say, oh yeah, I met that guy last year. And then the year after, it's getting easier and easier and easier. So yeah, pace yourself within the conference, but also pace yourself into the long term, and commit to coming to the conference year after year, because that's where the real value comes in, and comes out of the conference. That's where you get to meet the people that will matter on your career, will have an impact on your business. Those people will, may not be in the same side of the industry. They were at the DSP, you find them at an RMC, and that's the way this industry works. And what I'm building up to is really saying that the real differentiator of EuRA as compared to other conferences is the family feel that you get. We have a large conference now, 700, 750 attendees. It's very large, but you still get that family feel. The first time I came at EuRA in Porto, I met a group of my industry aunties, as you say. Some of them are coming out of the industry. Michelle, our past president, was one of them. She's slowly coming out of the industry as she sold her company, but still, I saw her every year, twice a year at EuRA, at ERC, if not more, because on her way to Corsica, she would stop in Lyon, where I live. So really, you get that family feel, and people that really don't feel like you're in a business conference. You're gonna make friends. I'm friends with people I've met throughout the conferences. So really, it's not about maximizing ROI or anything like that. At least if you want to do that, you can do that, definitely. You can spend from Monday morning 8 a.m. until, I don't know, Saturday at the airport doing meetings nonstop with people. You'll have to take a couple of weeks of rest after that, but really, you have to enjoy the conference. We have the chance to be in Portugal. It's going to be probably sunnier than where you are right now. It's going to be a nicer weather, so take the time to have a cup of coffee or a cool beer in the arbor, as you said. It's going to be fun. Don't overcharge yourself with meetings. Attend the conference. There are really some valuable insights to be drawn from the conference. Use the app as well. It's going to be really helpful navigate the geography of the location. As Brian said, you have the hotel, and then slightly next to it, you have the conference venue. So it's going to be very important to have the conference on hand at every time you're coming out of the meeting, coming out of the session, just to know where you're going, what's next, what are the big highlights of the conference that you need to attend. And yeah, that's about it in my still smallish experience. It's not even 10 years. I mean, I'm still a newbie. Let's face it. Yeah, it's in the long run that you'll get the most value out of the EuRA conference, and that's the only thing I can recommend. Dean, please.
Hey, Jeremy, the thing that I'd like to just pick up on there, and I talked about business relationships that I've created and personal relationships that I've created, but I missed out on the one word that is the most important thing for me at EuRA that I've come to realize are the friendships that I've made. I actually have become friends with some of the folks that I've met. We have this weird LinkedIn relationship going on, and it's okay. It's kind of cool, and that's what I meant. Where some of the business revenue streams have come from folks that I just are friends with. I don't do any business with these people directly, but they know somebody that knows somebody. And at the end of the day, and as I get to enjoy more and more EuRA conferences, excuse me, as the years progress, the friendships will just get deeper and wider. So thanks for that. Good on you.
Yeah, thank you both for that. I'm just posting a YouTube link into the chat. I think for me, I mean, I'm so privileged. I've been to this for so many years, but to echo what you both said, and especially what Jeremy was just saying, you'll see it, and I know it when you come for the very first time. It is. I love some of the comments and look for the deer in the headlights. I'm kind of worried now we'll be lost as hell. It is difficult. The first year is difficult, and you do see a lot of friendships being rekindled. You walk into the lobby of the hotel, you see people meeting for the first time. That's why I've just put that little Seville clip together. This was the first time that we were able to meet after the pandemic, and the feeling was extraordinary that you witness these friendships which have gone on, as Jeremy said, for years, and you will be in that position next year. When you walk into the lobby of our 2025 venue, you will be in the position of being able to say, yes, we met last year, how lovely to see you again. Anything that we can do to facilitate that's what we're here for. It's it is exactly as what both of you have said. Take some time to enjoy it. Come to the welcome reception, chat with someone you don't know. I'm such an introvert. When I go to other people's conferences, I find the whole thing absolutely terrifying. And then you just get chatting with someone, and it's lovely. And then, like I say, Dean and I met in Canada. Dean is actually going to be hosting a session at 10 o'clock on Thursday morning on transformation in global mobility. So again, we've always kind of said, the people that get the most out of EuRA are the people that use EuRA the most. Come and speak, be on a panel next time. Put yourself, don't worry that it's only your first or second conference. Dean jumped in with both feet, submitted a fantastic proposal, and the board were delighted to make sure that he was on the program. So anything that we can do. Thank you all for your comments. Lauren, thank you so much. Finally meeting people you've connected on LinkedIn. There you are. I see. That's great, Lauren. Thank you for that. If you've got those relationships on LinkedIn, you can finally meet. That's great. Tad, you were going to say something.
One of the earlier on, I showed you the lanyards. This is a completely new thing. In previous conferences, the lanyard was the lanyard, and they were all the same. And one of the reasons for doing one with newcomers on it is that so that you as newcomers can connect with each other, so that you won't feel lost.
Suelo, you make a really good point. It is, you feel a bit lost because they don't know who it's important to connect with. Too many people. You're right, it's a big event. That's why we try and do this. That's why we engineered the app so that people could meet in advance. I've seen things, there's a social wall on the app, and there's also, and you can post on that. So I remember when we were in Seville, people were saying, okay, I'm from Denmark. Anybody else from Scandinavia who want to meet for dinner? on Tuesday after the welcome reception. That's a great thing to do. So again, if you have, just reach out to your fellow newcomers and say, does anybody want to do dinner somewhere down in the harbour? Or, that's a great way of being able to kind of socialise. And somebody just said, who said, oh, Jerome, thank you very much. Good question. From Denmark. Just one question. Do you recommend doing anything specifically before the Congress? Jeremy, I'll point that to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, obviously you can reach out to the delegates that you want to have an appointment with. That's the obvious answer. Now the conference is 10 days away. A little bit more than a week from now. So it might be a little too late to set up some meetings. You can still try, but I mean, before you go, you should set some targets for yourself for the conference. What do you want to get out of it? That's the way I see it. Might be a little bit scholar, but it's the way I do it. So if you need to get to the conference to get a provider in this country, just go through the delegate list and you'll find all the people in that particular country, and then you can go through them. With the app, it's going to be very easy. There are many people who have already put on their photos, so you'll be able to find somebody and not look down on their badge when you meet them, which is always something funny happening at conferences. So you'll be able to see them face to face. I confess using usually LinkedIn as a way to stalk people at conferences, just to make sure that my appointment that I do not know is the person that I have in front of me. But now you have the app to do that for you as well. Set yourself some goals to educate yourself. It's also a big draw from the conference, from my perspective at least, and go through the program. I've seen so many people coming into the conference and saying, well, I have so many meetings, I cannot attend any of the sessions. And then going away from the conference saying, that's too bad, I didn't attend any sessions, and I heard some good stuff about this one and this one. So you have to keep some balance, some work balance, so to speak. And before that, those are my two words of advice to prepare yourself, and not overcrowd yourself, overbook yourself with this. It's gonna be overwhelming, that's for sure, but it's gonna get better year after year because you're gonna get to see familiar faces, friends. That's gonna be easier and easier as you go.
That's really good advice, and it is. And there's some more questions coming through, but no, that's true. It is. Have a look at the program. Look at the sessions that you think are going to be really useful to you. It's a very, very broad program. Anything that's in the room, Phoenix, I think it's 4, 5, 6. Is that right, Brian? The big room. Yeah. Anything that's in Phoenix 4, 5, and 6 is being recorded, and will be. We will make sure that you have access to those recordings. So, Natalie, thank you for your question. Somebody also said the same thing. What's the difference between the conference and the symposia? Okay, so Natalie, good question. If I booked a symposia ticket, am I supposed to book one of the sessions or shall I go to any? Brian, will check that for you, but you have probably already selected one. It's just on the app. I think on the app ticket it says symposia session. But you should, if you when you check in, come find one of us. You will have selected one of the 3 symposia, and they are separate to the conference. So it's a very good question. Thank you. So the symposia take place on Monday afternoon. They are a separate charge, and they're limited. Each symposia is limited to like 80 people. So one is move management, one is sustainability, and one is supply chains. Then everything else that you see on the program is conference open to everybody. So all of the sessions on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are open to everyone except, as Brian said, to the AGM and those sponsor meetings, which are invitation only. So the conference sessions are all of the plenaries that happen in Phoenix 4, 5, and 6, and the workshops that take place on Wednesday afternoon. There are 3 of those that last, I think, 3 hours, Bryony? Yeah, on Wednesday afternoon. And those workshops are immigration, direct clients, and corporate housing. If you're interested in any of those, you do not need to sign up. It's not a prepaid event. They are just long workshops that you're very welcome to join. You can choose which one you want to go to and just go on in. There's a lot of preparation that gone into that and some really good speakers. So what we aim to do is have a section of plenary sessions, these workshops, and then at the very start of the conference on Monday, are those symposia. So for your point of view, the very first thing that happens in the programme is actually on Monday afternoon at 5 o'clock, if you have not booked a symposium, that is. On Monday afternoon at 5:30, sorry, tell a lie, there is a speed networking event in one of the big rooms on the top floor of the convention centre. You'll see it on the programme. And if you want to come to that, it's like a speed dating, just for people to talk to each other and then move on. So if you're interested in that, then go for it. Like I say, for me as an introvert, that's horrifying. But if you like that, you'll have a great time. Are there any other questions? That was a really good one. Thank you for that, Natalie. So like I say, if you've booked a symposia ticket, the chances are you have already selected which one to go to, because we have got a list of who is going to which one.
If you've booked a symposium and you hadn't said which one, I would have asked you which one. So you will have definitely booked a specific symposium.
Yeah. So like I say, Natalie, if you're not sure, just drop us an email and we'll find out for you. And that applies to anybody as well. Is there anything else that we can help with? Does anybody have a question that they would like to ask? As I say, we'll do. Oh, Jeremy, please. Yeah.
Yeah. I realized I should have given one more piece of advice, but it's probably been given already in some way. And the piece of advice is to go out to people. I mean, I know there are introverts. It's going to be hard. And especially if it's your first time or one of the first times you come to the conference, the best way to get value out of it is to get some human interaction, and you'll get it, and you'll get the most benevolent attitude from everybody. I cannot recall in 10 years of going to EuRA conferences of any negative interaction that I've seen or experienced myself. We've worked very, very hard with the board on a code of conduct that probably you've received as part of your email around your badge. So check out the code of conduct. That's important, and those are the rules that everyone should abide by during the conference. But that doesn't obviously preclude anybody from having human contact, and just go into the conference the first day, reach out to the first person that you see come out of the door that has a lanyard, any lanyard basically, and you'll see that everybody's really gentle, kind. And even if you end up talking to a competitor, we're in a people's industry. We're all serving people, and this is not a finance conference where everybody's trying to show that my return is better than yours and stuff like that. It's a service industry where we are here to learn together and grow together. So act accordingly, try to grow and make the people that you meet grow, and that passes by talking to people. So open up. It's going to be harder the first times you come, but then after that you'll be opening up to friends. So yeah.
Jeremy, thank you. That's great. Really, really good to hear. Manon, thank you so much for your question. Manon asks, I'm curious to know how many people are on the waitlist for this year's conference and if there will be more tickets available next year. Now, Bryony, you've done a really good job of getting that waitlist right down, but there are still a significant number of people on it, right?
There are, yeah. I would say there's probably around 60, 70 people on the waitlist still. However, the majority of those are non-members, because I made sure that if you're a member of EuRA and a place became available, then you were offered it. So we have very, very few non-members attending the conference this year. Do you want me to answer the question about whether we'll be increasing more for next year?
You can go ahead. I was going to, but you go right ahead.
Okay. So after every conference, we send out an evaluation. And when we did this in Dublin, one of the messages that came across loud and clear was that we should not allow more people to attend, because we like to be able to keep that family feel, and we like to be able to use hotels rather than great big conference centres. So we put into place for this year, when you were booking, a few rules, guidelines, that companies could only bring a maximum of 4 people from their company, unless they're sponsoring or if they had more than one membership. There's a couple of exceptions, but we are trying to maintain at our 700, 750, so that we don't get too big. So I would say no, there will not be any more tickets available next year, so which makes it even more important to look out for when the bookings open and get your booking in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting debate because we've talked about this. I mean, just to put this across and get that out there, if you don't know, EuRA is a not-for-profit. So we are genuinely a not-for-profit company. Now, the conference is the biggest financial driver of what EuRA is able to achieve. It pays for all our educational programs, it pays for all our development, it pays for new things, it pays for the seal, everything that we do. So we could just open it out and only go to venues that can accommodate 1,000 people and make it absolutely huge and turn it into a cash cow. And the board have said over and over again, as have the members, please don't do that. Keep it to this number. If it gets any bigger, it just will be difficult to navigate even more than it is now. So I hope that makes sense. Thank you, Manon. Thank you, that makes sense. So look, it's been an absolute theme. Yes, please.
I just want to say one more thing. Even with 750 people coming, you will not meet everybody. So, you know, whether there's 1,500, 2,750, it's going to take you a couple of years to shake everybody's hand. So I'm pleased that it's not going to grow because I still have lots of people to meet. So thanks for that.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you, Chris. Great session. Thank you, everyone. I will draw this to a close. It's been great chatting with you. Thank you all for all of your participation in the chat. That's been great. We all hope that your first experience at a EuRA conference is really positive. We will do everything in our power to make that happen. So if there is something you need, just come and find one of us. Come and find a staff member. Come and find another newcomer. Come and find a mentor. Come and find a board member. Talk to, like you said, like you both said, just, you know, talk to people and build a relationship. And we'll hopefully see you at 9 o'clock on Tuesday, the 30th of April, for the Newcomers reception. That's on floor 1 in Phoenix Room 1. It's all on the program. It's all in the app. The other thing is on the app, it does, if you press show on map for any of the sessions, it'll tell you exactly where it is and it will home in on the map. We really look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much for attending today. I hope this has been useful. And yeah, we'll see you in person. Come and find me. Come and find Bryony. Come and find Dean. Come and find Jeremy. Come and find Tad. We will really look forward to seeing you. Thank you, everyone. You take care. Have a great weekend. We'll see you in just over a week.
Thank you.